Good morning, Tempe. Thank you for that warm introduction. I just can't wait to see what the futures of these young leaders will bode for both the Democratic Party and the future of the United States of America. I need to thank you for sharing your sunshine with Jill and I here today. I also feel obligated to come clean to you about some truth, about those Obama Biden memes. You should all know that they're true. Every last one of them. From the ice cream to the Ray-Bans to the jokes Barack and I have made at the expense of Donald Trump's tiny little hands, they're all true. And if you're able to take one lesson from these jokes, it should be that Barack has become a very dear friend of mine. And you can't say that about just anyone, especially in politics. Barack Obama has served our country with honor and integrity and character. And I mean that, I really do. And I don't know about you, but I think it's high time that we bring those traits back to the Oval Office. That's not all we're going to bring. We are going to be bringing back our health care, and we are going to be making sure that all of you are able to graduate from this college. Now, at this time, people all across America are asking themselves these questions. And folks, these questions are as profound as they are ordinary. They're gathering around the kitchen table and asking themselves, are we going to be able to keep our health insurance? Are we going to be able to keep our family together? Will someone come and take mom or dad? Are we going to be able to realize our kids' dreams by sending them to college? Ladies and gentlemen, people are asking themselves these questions. They're asking, is our aunt and uncle going to be able to get the health care they need from Veterans Affairs? Can we send our kids to school and know they'll come home safe? Will our kids be sent off to fight in foolish wars in Syria, China, and Iran? Will our president serve his country, or will he be taking orders from the Kremlin in Moscow? Does he even have the temperament to keep himself from launching nuclear missiles? Folks, people are scared. They're scared for their lives and for the lives of their children. And I don't blame them. This administration has been a downright disaster. When it comes to our incumbent president, I get it. It's tough to get people to like you when you can't even win the popular vote. But whether it's his midnight tweets, violating the First Amendment with his failed ban, or the constant brown-nosing he does to Vladimir Putin, you want to sit Donald Trump down and tell him to quit while he's behind. But you know Donald Trump. He doesn't quit while he's behind. He just can't stop. First of all, you have his effort to replace the Affordable Care Act. They hate things Barack and I did so much that they want to render 14 million more Americans in the same state they were back in 2008, uninsured. Instead of talking about preserving their health care, about our hard-working middle-class families trying to make ends meet, he goes off and blames Barack for wiretapping Trump Tower. I'll tell you, as if we didn't have enough of him blabbing his mouth every single second of the day. We had to wiretap his building. You know, I know what I'm talking about. I have quite a bit of experience in government running my mouth. But out of everything Donald Trump has said or done in the past couple of months, the worst thing I've seen is his budget plan. Trust me, I've been around for a long, long time. I've seen my fair share of bad budgets. You know, the Republican Party has turned its back, I tell you, on the people who voted for them and who need their government to stick up for them. It's disgraceful that they're turning their backs on the elderly by eliminating the agency that provides meals on wheels. It's terrible that they're turning their backs on rural Americans by cutting the Department of Agriculture's funding by 21%. And it breaks my heart to see them shortchanging you, our young children, by taking a battle axe to the Department of Education and cutting $9 billion that should go to educating our kids and giving them world-class education, the tools they need to succeed. But that's not the worst part of it. How many of you know about the Pell Grant program? Okay? As part of this education cut, Donald Trump has taken away $3.9 billion from the Pell Grant program. Also, he can spend $3 million on golf outings in Mar-a-Lago. But while all this is bleak, while since his inauguration we have gone from morning in America to midnight in America, I can see from this stage that our future is as bright as Arizona's sun. That doesn't mean that we don't have a long road ahead for us, that we don't have our work to do. But it's times like these that make me think of something my father used to tell me. My father, he said, "Joey, the measure of a man is not how often he gets knocked down, but how often he gets back up again." And I think that's true about the American people. During our darkest times, whether it's been the bitter divide of the Civil War, the daunting threat of Nazi Germany, or the gross mistreatment of our citizens during Jim Crow, we have always gotten back up. We have always risen to the occasion. This time can be no different. As our president, I will leave no one behind. I will never turn my back on you. But being president is about so much more than that. You know, I had the privilege of seeing Barack learn that firsthand. Being president is about being a leader for all Americans, for everyone who calls this beautiful nation its home. Even when we see pundits like Sean Hannity and who is it? Tommy, whatever her name is, it makes us want to ignore those people, to ignore those voices, and pretend that they're not American just like you and me. But we're not going to do that. We are going to welcome Trump supporters of all shapes and sizes, just not Joe Arpaio. The first thing I'll do for our country is I will bring back healthcare, not just for you, but for those Trump supporters as well. You know, when I was a kid, when someone would bloody my nose and I'd come running and crying to my mom, she'd tell me to get right back outside and bloody their nose back. Well, that's terrific advice, and I told that to all my kids. It doesn't do when it comes to protecting the health of our citizens. It's not enough. When we care for our sickly and care for our loved ones, these are the things that make the Affordable Care Act necessary for the United States. And come this January, we as a country will unite together to make sure that all our citizens are insured and that nobody's denied health care for their pre-existing conditions. We will once again make it a priority to ensure that young people like you can stay on your parents' health insurance until they are 26. Now, over my Senate career and my career in the White House, I learned several lessons, lots of important things. I learned how to compromise about foreign policy, and that Senator John McCain of yours, a very good friend of mine, swears like a sailor. But I've also learned all too well that nations that are out-educated today are ones that are out-competed tomorrow. So we are going to go all in on our education. We are going to make sure that everyone will get the education that they deserve. We will make sure that there is universal kindergarten. We will make sure that our kids learn their math and sciences. We will make college virtually free for all college freshmen. Instead of mistreating and ridiculing, we're going to welcome more educators and make sure we end America's shortage of teachers. Jill had me write that one in. Instead of putting our students into debt, we're going to make sure we lower tuition across the board. It ensured that everyone has access to affordable loans. Instead of defunding and ignoring spending in our schools, we're going to increase the budget and make sure we're providing the tools that our kids need to succeed here in the future. This is my vision for America. To me, we will never make America great again by building walls and banning people. We will make it great again by working harder, getting smarter, and helping out one another. Like 2008, folks, this is about being able to look one of your loved ones in the eye and say to them, we are going to be okay. Now I know it's hot here in Arizona. Maybe not as humid as Washington, but still very hot. But regardless, you have got to get out there and talk to your neighbors, register all these voters, and rise to the occasion that we have been presented. As I've said, the United States has always been about rising to the occasion. It has been that way since the Declaration of Independence. It has been that way since the Emancipation Proclamation. It has been that way since we stormed the beaches of Normandy. And it has been that way since we marched alongside Martin Luther King Jr. back in Birmingham. This is the time for us to restore the progress that we have made as a country. This is the time to stand in solidarity with one another as citizens, regardless of whom we support. This is the time to finally tell Trump, once and for all, you're fired. This is the time to rise to the occasion, ladies and gentlemen. I need you, Arizona. I need your support. Thank you, Tempe, and may God bless America.